Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maximo and I'm here checking out Defender's Quest. This is a tower defense game combined with a few RPG elements. This was supposed to release like a week before it actually did, but well, it has now, and a week after it actually did, sorry, but it has released now, and we can go and have a look at it. So there's not that much to see out here. I mean, we've got a fair few options, which is nice, although notably the ability to use the touchscreen in this game's interface is actually surprisingly missing, and you'll understand why it's surprising when we actually get into it. You can change all the button prompts at will, which is nice, so I'll give them that. And you can also see all the different controls here, which is all good as well, but it's all pretty self-explanatory once you get in. You can turn off flashing effects, which is pretty awesome. You can even change the game speed, which I do not recommend that you do, but it's there if you want. And you can also turn on things like cheats and stuff for the save file, but I haven't actually gone and done that. And your rewards are just your trophies. So you can see there that I have beaten a level on Extreme, I've got all the character classes, and I've unlocked the Librarian's level 10. The rest is quite out of my reach at the moment, I must say. And there's your miscellaneous stuff, so you can show things like cutscenes and all that every time, or just the first time. The game does also have cross-save, but it's only manual, so get used to that. So, we're going to start up and go straight into my game here. I've put about 2 hours and 36 minutes, as it says. That's pretty close to correct, I'll give it that much. So, we'll just hop right in, shall we? So, the game itself is very easy to understand. It's very mobile-y, but not in a bad way. Like, the structure in this game actually does make sense. So, the general idea is that you go through, you win battles, you level up, you earn experience, and then eventually you can go back to earlier levels, play them on harder difficulties, and get more rewards from them. So if you end up getting to a point where you get stuck in the main story because you need to grind up your forces a little bit, you can just move back and play the older levels, and they will actually give you reasonable amounts of rewards. The other difficulties aren't there just to be like, you know, a slightly harder version of the main game that you can go through on your first try. No, you have to go and level up in order to actually play them successfully on the other difficulties. I've been made aware that this game has something along the lines of 7 acts, and I believe I'm on Act 5, so I'm actually pretty close to the end, but at the same time there is a lot of content after the main story. I'm just saying I should probably do it now before something, you know, bad happens. You can come here to see the journal, and yeah, it's got some of the writings of the people in the story, and there's a bunch of cutscenes and stuff as well. It doesn't take itself too seriously. There's a bit of humor sprinkled in here and there. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it falls flat. It's trying not to be too serious. It's trying to be a little lighthearted, and I can respect it for that. So let's go hop into this level. So as I said before, you can see that there are going to be 12 waves, and the levels are between 13 and 27. That's about what we should expect at this point. My reward for the blue star is unlocking the next level, and if I get it perfect, which means I don't let a single monster through, I get 600 scrap, which is actually a fair amount of money. And the higher you go, the more stuff you earn. So, you know, 8,000 scrap on Extreme is actually a lot of money, but look at those enemy levels, 45 to 51. That's going to be almost impossible. There is also a casual mode, which will give you the same set of rewards that you would get on normal, except cut in half. So you do actually get the rewards for casual if you do it on normal. Same thing if you go up to advanced early on, but obviously you're not going to go to advanced early on the latest level that you're up to. So we're just going to hop straight in. And oh, cutscene. There's no voice acting here, so I can actually talk over it. And the writing's fine for the most part. Most of the characters are actually custom named, but I've been keeping them on their regular names because you can name them like custom names in order to tell them apart when they're out on the field. And they've all got their own usual sets of characters. It's not a particularly deep or interesting story, but at the same time, it does the work well enough of giving us a reason to want to actually win the fights that we get into, so yeah. There are a couple of weird bugs in this game, and one of the weird ones that I've come across is actually one where the character sprites, for some reason, got replaced with these really generic stick figures. I sent this off to the developer, and he was like, oh dear, I hope that isn't as common as it looks. I'll see if I can fix that. But it really doesn't make any difference. But to make a long story short, the girl in the purple sorceress robes over on the left there, she's the librarian, she was thrown into the pit, which is more or less a gigantic containment area for a plague that they basically need to keep back in order to make sure that nobody in their kingdom gets it. She gets thrown in because I think she gets infected, at least I think that's the reason for it. And she ends up being able to take out the plague-infected people who turn out to be like magical revenants. Those are my abs. Yeah, Slack is a bit slack-minded, we'll put it that way, pun intended. So that was a look at the cutscene, a little bit of comedy and humor here and there, nothing too, like, nothing offensive is what I'm trying to say, nothing that makes me think, oh, this is really bad. It's mainly just, you know, sometimes it's slightly cringeworthy. Nothing that I would particularly call bad, so let's actually go hop into it. So this is our main screen. We have the ability to do a few things here. We can come have a look around the map, and we can move our cursor with the D-pad, or with the left analog stick? Yeah, left analog stick. Now, we have the ability to throw out defenders, and we have the ability to throw out spells. We're going to throw out defenders first, and in case you didn't notice, I have paused the game. You can change the game speed using the shoulder buttons, and the select is also an instant pause. So the way this works is you have a count of psi up there in the top right, which is, at the moment, 825. So what we want to do is we want to start putting down people. I'm going to start putting down people right now, actually. So people are one of 6 classes, all of which I have unlocked at this point. And these classes are all very easy to understand. You've got the Berserkers. The Berserkers are more or less just cheapo attackers. They'll be there to do most of the physical damage. You have your Rangers, which are mainly ranged characters, and they can do an absolute ton of damage to pretty much anything that gets within their line of sight. And you can see their line of sight there. You got healers, who every couple of bursts will be able to actually heal up a person. They do also have some extra abilities, but we'll get into all the extra abilities of certain characters later. We also have the Ice Mages, and the Ice Mages are very useful because they can slow people down. The Knights are also quite useful as well, because they are capable of... The Knights are very useful as well, because they are capable of doing armor damage to things. That seems to be their main function, so anything that's heavily armored, basically they're the ones that are there to get rid of it. And finally, you have the Dragons. The Dragons are more or less just giant melee tank attackers. They're basically just like huge bastards, but they're also quite slow, so you do want to be a bit careful about that. There are some other mechanics that we can go over, but for the moment we are just going to speed the game back up to 1 times. So you can see on the left there that that's our wave count. And our waves are going to be coming in from the 2 spawn points down the bottom there, but that can change between levels and stuff like that, obviously. And it's a tower defense game, so you just want to make sure that absolutely nothing gets through. We do have, of course, all our dudes here to try and take care of this problem for us. And they will all get to work as soon as everything gets within range. So this is what the game more or less looks like. You are making sure that your dudes do as much damage to the enemies as possible before they manage to get through. Sometimes this will just be impossible, and you'll need to like rethink your strategy. And sometimes you'll be able to do things like throw out spells. So I have right here the electricity spell, which can do a massive amount of damage to enemies. We also have a frenzy spell, not a rage spell, but it's basically the same thing. And the frenzy spell will make everyone attack faster. We also have the ability to do a group heal, and we have a crystal. The crystal is basically a time bomb. You put it down, and within a few seconds it'll explode and kill everything within range of it, which is usually within a few squares. And that's the general gist of it. You gotta try and kill as many things as humanly possible. Apparently I've picked a really bad setup for this level, and I'm probably going... Well, I'm not gonna lose. Not at this rate, but things aren't looking particularly promising, we'll put it that way. So, I have an idea. We are going to pause the game, first off. And we are going to, if I can remember how to, right, go back there, then hit left here to get out, back out onto the map. Right. Now, we recall these. We can recall dudes if we feel like it. And recalling will give us some of the MP back. Not all of it, but some of it. So we get some of our MP back there. And now that we've got our MP back, we can put out some more Ice Mages. Ice Mages are most effective in slowing people down. And we want them to be as slow as humanly possible through this corridor so they can get hit by both the ranged characters and the dragons. And then we want to try and lightning these dudes up here because they have way too much health to be safe to keep around. We're only on half speed right now, that's fine. We can leave it like this for the time being. There are enemies that can attack back, and there are enemies that will require a bit of night beating down on them to make sure that they will more or less just, like, you know, stay dead, or at the very least take more damage. But enemies, even enemies with lots of armor, will fall to good old lightning spells and crystal time bombs and all that. All of that jazz. So this is pretty much it. I mean, I could speed up the game to go at about 8 times the speed, but I don't want to do that for too long, as you can see there, because it's probably going to end badly for me either way. You get more psi as you defeat enemies, and defeating enemies in this game is pretty much a requirement. Like, I know that sounds dumb, but the amount of psi that you get out of these dudes is actually lower if you take brainwork with me here. If you wonderful, I'm gonna have to take a few losses on this one, unfortunately. Yeah, the amount of psi you get out of some dudes is lower if you hurt them with the brainwork with me here. If you hit them with the lightning spell. And I'm actually going to die here. There's nothing I can do to stop this, so I might as well speed it up and let it happen. So, now that I've died, I was expecting that in all honesty. I get some experience, and my librarian has actually leveled up, which means I can actually level up one of her spells. Thankfully, none of my actual dudes leveled up, because the amount of skill points I would have to hand over is kind of ridiculous. We'll give her a point to Frenzy. Oh no, we do actually have some leveling up going on, but we'll go play one more level just before we end up doing anything else. So, let's actually pull back a bit and try and do a level from an earlier part of the game, but on a higher difficulty. Okay, so this one will be levels 12 through 16. That works. So we'll play this on advanced difficulty, and we will give this a shot. Same basic concept, but now we get to, well, more or less try again. So let's do that. We get to see a couple of different kinds of enemies, including ones that can swim, which is interesting. And we might as well put out a dragon or two just on the corners, because why not? Also, I got rangers. There are a couple of things that you can do, like there is the ability to, you can recall people before the first wave comes in, but as soon as that first wave has come in, you don't get as much psi for recalling dudes. So you do need to be a bit careful about that, mainly because you do have a limited amount of psi, and you do have to keep as much of it around as possible for spells and stuff. So I found that trying to get your perfect setup going in the first round is the best thing you can do. Otherwise, generally, you'll just end up in a pretty bad position, which is not great. And other than that, it really is pretty simple tower defense. There is, of course, one other thing I need to get to as well, though. We might as well put the game down to like 1/2 speed while I explain this. So, every character can be, it's boosted, yeah, boosted. So every time you boost a character, you can get a new ability out of them, and this is how their upgrade trees actually work. Their more powerful abilities cost skill points to get, along with just improving their base efficiency and what have you. And when you boost them, they gain access to their second ability. Then when you boost them again, they gain access to their third ability, etc, etc, etc. And this all requires extra psi, so it's your choice whether or not you want to bring along rangers who are fine, or you can try and boost them to get more effectiveness out of them. So I can boost like this archer to get a triple shot out of her, but that requires 75 psi. And when I can put down more berserkers for that cost, if I haven't put down the 6 that I limited to already, then yeah, you get the general idea. It's balancing between putting out new units and boosting your old ones. For early on in the game, you probably want to focus on just putting out new units because it takes a while to actually get all your dudes out on the field until you're up to like the 2-3 hour mark. But yeah, you get the general idea, more or less. So let's just speed this up a bit to make it a little bit more interesting. But you can see I'm actually holding them back pretty well, so let's actually speed that up a bit more. The game does run at 8 times speed, and it actually does run pretty well. It's not 100% rock solid. There's still some stutters and slowdown going on from time to time, especially in 20 times mode. But it's still not that bad. Like, it's not even close to being unplayable or horrible or anything like that. It looks and runs pretty good, all things considered. So yeah, there we go. We survived unharmed, which means we get a bunch of money and a bunch of experience, which I can use to show off how the leveling up system works. So yeah, a bunch of our dudes leveled up. So let's go take a look at those dragons down there, because they are new recruits, and they need a bunch of their points spent. So here's how this works. Your bottom line of abilities are your passive abilities, and these will apply all the time, whether they be adding poison to bite, or adding to one of their stats, or adding just a random special ability, one that will come up every like few percentage points or something, right? You know, it has a 5% chance of adding this effect to this attack, you know, that sort of thing. That's the sort of thing you're looking at here. And I'll show you roughly what all the trees look like. So the dragons are very useful as both tanks and attackers. The ice mages are attackers as well, but they are very useful for slowing down enemies. They are definitely the sort of debuff of the people, which is why I have all my mages focused so high on having lots of chill and freeze effects, because those two abilities apply to Ice Ball, so their basic attack is what gets that extra bonus. The knights are very focused on trying to do things like take care of armor and slow things down and push them back. So they are very good at that, which is why you probably want them to have armor pierce and arm break as much as possible, which is nice. The healers can heal, but they do also have a secondary ability after you boost them, which will actually give them an attack. And you've also got the ability to... you've also got an extra attack, Holy Light, which does more damage to dark foes, which is nice. Your ranges are pretty simple. They are attacking units, and they attack over long range. It's pretty easy to understand what they're working with here. Improve their base capabilities. And as I said before, the Berserkers are more or less just cheapo attacking units. You put them as close to the front as possible, and just upgrade them as much as you feel is necessary. I think I'll give him some regen. You can be more competent in your base abilities. You can be... oh, you're already pretty competent. Let's give you some more power and double hit. And Stawan can definitely have some more double hit as well. So yeah, you get the general idea. You do also have the ability to equip weapons to people. You actually get weapons either via buying them in towns or getting them as rewards for beating levels on certain difficulties. Is this one that will give me one? No, 1200 scrap. What about this one? Arch Shepherd's Stave. Okay, we'll come back and we'll try that in just a moment, but I also want to show you lairs and towns and all sorts of things like that. There are some story bits you can get to that make it sound like you won't be able to come back, but you can visit pretty much any town at any time and buy whatever the hell you want. So you can buy weapons to increase their attack power, you can buy armor to increase defense, and these only go on certain classes. You can also recruit new people. So as you can see, it's going to cost me 3600 scrap to recruit a new dragon. I don't have that amount of scrap right now, but you can change the name, you can change a bunch of their different colors and all that. But that's pretty much it. It's nothing more other than that. And of course, you do have the ability to individually customize the build of every single character that you feel like. So yeah, let's go play this level again. So we have a lot of options for defense here, mainly because they're going to be coming in from all sides. And we do have a bunch of psi. We get more psi the more we level up. We do definitely want that. So let's put dragons down as the guardians here, and we'll have the berserkers on the corners to make it so that they cover as much area as possible. And now we'll boost them all to make sure they have double hit. And we do have enemies that are going to attack back, so let's put down some healers somewhere where they'll reach a fair few people. And we have 120 psi left, so... yeah, we'll put an Ice Mage here and an Ice Mage here to slow things down a bit while still keeping them in the range of the... healers. So let's do this. Times 2 speed. Times 4 speed. We'll see how well this works. So yeah, we're doing a bit of damage there. And here comes the ones on the other side. Okay, it's getting a little bit too close for comfort here, so let's just zap a few bastards. Okay, so slow down the game to a pause. What else can we add here? We can add a couple of knights to get some extra damage going. Yep, that'll do. And we don't have the resources to boost them, unfortunately, but you are not getting through that, no sir. I should probably boost the dragons a little bit since they're going to be the last line of defense. Unfortunately, it costs a lot of resources to boost dragons. It seriously costs something ridiculous, like 100 each, I think. I don't remember exactly. How much do they cost? 175. Yeah, that makes sense considering like they're the most powerful units in the game, but yeah, you can generally see why I'm a little bit averse to upgrading them past their base attributes. How are we doing? We're actually not doing that bad, but we're going to want something to try and slow down those bloody slugs. Thankfully, we can tell what one they're likely to come in, so we can put another dude here. And we can deploy some rangers. So let's deploy a ranger there, deploy a ranger there, and deploy, oh, right. Need a little bit more side to get that ranger. There we go. Now we just put another ranger there. So now when those fast slugs start coming in through the red gate, we are not going to have anything to worry about, because they are going to get attacked. You do also have the ability to change the AI of the defenders, like you might have seen it before. So if we pop the game back on pause, you can see down here that there are a bunch of different things that you can target. So we can, never change targets until the enemy leaves area or dies. You can save the settings to make a default for that character. Best chance, optimize effects, cheapest technique, target last, target strongest, target weakest, and you get the general idea. It actually all works pretty well. I haven't actually dug too deep into that side of the stuff yet, but it's there. And it all works pretty well. It makes for a pretty interesting tower defense game. You can always go back and level up and improve your dudes. So, you know, if you don't want to go to the effort of just... well, let me try this again. So, you can go back and play previous levels with your dudes. I mean, I know it's basically grinding, and I know some people don't like grinding that much, but at the same time, you do actually get extra rewards and stuff for successfully making it through the, hang on. Do I have the ability to drop a... I'll drop a crystal right here, and now I can make it automatically explode with lightning. So that explodes and does a bunch of damage, so now I don't have to worry too hard about any of these dudes. Easy done. Survived unharmed, so I get the perfect reward along with the regular reward. Yep, everyone levels up, gets a bit of a stat boost. I'm not going to spend the time to level them up right now, but yeah, there's the piece of equipment. So the Arch Shepherd or Archmage stuff, whatever the bloody hell it was, so we can actually equip that to someone. So let's equip that to... Who can use the boost? Yeah, probably my secondary Ice Mage. There we go. We can also put armor on her, but we don't have any armor, unfortunately, because I'm flat broke. But yeah, that's the general gameplay. It's a tower defense game. I mean, it's got some neat RPG elements to it, but it is more or less a tower defense game. So, I really don't know what else to say about it other than that. It's pretty good. Like, it does the tower defense thing really well. It's just, it's a tower defense game. It's exactly what you think when you think tower defense. And I don't mind it. I really don't. I'm having fun playing it. It's relatively balanced. It's a pretty good challenge, and I don't feel like I'm ever stuck in an area because I can always go back and just, like, level up my dudes if I need to. I can level them up somewhere else. I can go and do something along the lines of, brain work with me here. I could do something along the lines of, you know, go and grind some experience and get some actual rewards for doing it on previous levels as well. So it's not like I'm completely incapable of, it's not like I'll ever get blocked. I'll be able to just go back and do some more stuff. And yeah, it's got some slightly cringy but not entirely horrible humor that I actually do. Well, not so much I actually do enjoy, but at the same time, it's not the worst humor in the world, and I can live with it a lot more than one might think. I'll boost the guy here on the right first. Yeah, those things are going to need some lightning right in their bum holes. There we go. There we go. Speed back up a bit. Alright, now that we've got that, let's level up. Oh, I just boosted the wrong dude. Alright, doesn't matter too much. So yeah, it's pretty good. It does the tower defense thing pretty well. It has a little bit cringy, but still tolerable and reasonable story to justify everything. And I don't mind it. Decent enough game all on its own. The RPG upgrade aspects are enjoyable. Yeah, I think I'm kind of screwed again. What do I do about this? I guess this is what recalling is for. So let's see if I can recall this dragon. Can I put him down there? Oh, well, alright, hang on. Recall the berserker in the middle. Put down the dragon. And now... Okay. Frenzy. And... lightning everything that tries to get through. It's a very resource limited level now that I think about it. Like, considering that I've only got so many spots down there to actually put my dudes, it kind of relies on you having, it relies on you having a good amount of strategic viability in your plan, which, you know, is never something to really complain about in a tower defense game. Okay, so what am I going to do about this? Not really much I can do, really. Well, first thing we'll do is we'll boost Dank, and that's literally what his name came up with. I didn't name that guy Dank on my own, which is something I didn't think I'd end up saying today, but... oh well. Back up to minimum speed so I can just throw out lightning bolts again. A little bit of stuttering going on, but nothing I can't handle. That's gonna sting a little bit, not much I can do about that. Just shock everything that gets too close. Probably something I could have done, like put knights up the front to wear down the armor of the white slugs to make it easier to get rid of them. Unfortunately, I'm about to run out of lightning bolts. But I made it through with a bit of difficulty, which isn't the worst thing in the world, because I'm still going to get all the experience from that. Bit of leveling up going on, and just some nice general money gains and all of that, and that's pretty much how it goes. I'll let you watch the cutscene that's about to happen here, and then I think we'll call this video off. It's been half an hour already, Jesus. Okay, so apparently there's an exit from the pit. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, you get the general idea. It's basic tower defense, but with RPG elements that are actually pretty engaging, and just generally, I mean, it's not cringe-worthy writing, but it's writing that's trying to be funny, and it does actually manage to do it sometimes. So, you know, I'm willing to give it a pass for the times that it doesn't. It's enjoyable. It's a good tower defense game. I'm not usually into tower defense games, and this hasn't really changed my mind that much, but the RPG mechanics are nice, and I could definitely see someone getting really stuck into this. There are a bunch of other things I haven't gone over yet, like you do have the ability to put a few extra challenges on yourself. There are like endless survival modes and stuff that you can unlock. Like, see, you need 30 gold stars to get into the first challenge, and there's a couple of endless modes as well. Yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all there is to it. It's pretty good. Not amazing in my personal opinion, but it's not something I would strive away from recommending if you were a fan of tower defense games. That's pretty much it. Like, that's all I got. I'm sorry. I usually not that into tower defense games, as I just said, so... But yeah, it's good. You want to know whether you should buy it? If that looked interesting to you, go ahead. There you go. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.